Hi guys, it's Aegis here. So today I'm here with another deck profile, and this time we'll be covering the new brews. So the reason I take it too long is I was on my journey to actually find Stephanie because I don't actually get any kind of dark state splits. I don't get it every set. I just try to find a split whenever I find things funny to play with. So there are stuff that I'm missing. For example, the Grateful Brews, I don't have that at all. So that's why it took me some time to actually get the cards to actually put in the deck to playtest it, and here we are. So let's go with the deck profile quickly because the deck is very fun to play with. Now it's still the old brews right line with the new brews because we just don't have other kind of better options right now, and with the new brews you actually need to have your whole field to be Diabolos. So if you're using a non-Diabolos right line and you need to call something from your soul, you will have a lot of trouble to choose units because sometimes the key cards that is Diabolos that in your deck are grade 2s or higher, and you don't always get to soul charge the right grade 1 with your limited soul charging, even though we do have some cards that actually help us out to do that, but it's not always happening. So it's still better to have your Diabolos right line right here, so whenever something's go wrong you still get to actually use them from the soul with other units that you have. Then you can still have a full Diabolos board, and then with your new brews you get to stand your units, right? So let's also talk about the new brews. So what he does is first during the when the battle phase starts, if all of your units are Diabolos, then until the end of your opponent's next turn, it will become of course our final rush. But if your opponent is Grateful or higher, it will become the final burst, which final burst is basically final rush but in another name, and that will also activate cards that requires you to be in final burst state. Of course you can still use your final rush skill. So what is this different to any kind of Diabolos deck that we have been playing with is your usual final rush states happens when you at the start of your ride phase. So it will go through the main phase, it will go through the battle phase, and then it ends. But this time it actually starts after the main phase, during the battle phase, and until your opponent's end phase. So there are cards like Stephanie that, depending on how your final rush states is to pump power, it will get to keep going until your opponent's end turn. But there are a lot of cards that requires you to be in final rush during your main phase. You will not be able to use that. So a lot of order cards you cannot use those. So the deck is actually changing by a lot, and you can only get into final rush or final burst if your whole board is Diabolos. So if you have something that is not, that will be a trouble. You will just not have any. So this deck limiting you to only use Diabolos units basically. So do be very careful on that. But again, it's a very fun deck to play. That it gives you a lot of excitement because you get to hit kind of hard. You get to think a lot with your soul, do a lot of things, doing some different attack sequencing, and trying to win there. And it gives you a lot of chances to gamble, actually. So to me, it's a very fun deck. Now getting to the main deck, more boost because we want souls, we want front row powered up, we like personal ride. That's all that matters. And then 3 of the Julian, because we don't actually get to empty our board that much, or basically none. So you don't quite get the chance to use Julian to do multiple attacks during her battle phase, at least from what I've been testing with. But it is still a good card to soul charge and bring something out that can help you. And when you don't have a lot of units, this card is still going to save you by building up your board. And it's a grade 3, 13k, it easily get enough power just by himself. So that's why it's still important in the deck. Okay. And then I was trying this Diablo Striker Greg. So I actually didn't get to use this card a lot because other cards that comes to my hand usually becomes a lot more useful. But this card is when you in final burst, and when this card is on front row regular circle, you can Soul Blast 2, which you should have enough. Then you get to counter charge 1 and +5. So this is still a important card to me because we use so many counter blasts. These two are really using your counter blast by a lot. So having a chance to counter charge is important. But I'm so lucky that I don't need to get to that phase. So I'm just lucky. But whenever there's a chance when the game goes a little bit longer, this card will definitely help you out because you always have 2 souls usually, and counter charge is very important. And once you, because it's only when you get into final burst, so you can, before you do any sorts of attacks that requires you to use counter blast, you can Soul Blast 2 to counter charge 1. That allows you immediately at least have 1 skill available so you don't get stuck. And then Eden. So Eden doesn't bound by any kind of names as long as you're in Final Rush. Then you get to +5, and after the restand you get a +1 crit, so it's still a very good pusher, and you can just attack, hit, counter blast 1 and pop something, so it's still important. Again, it's a card that uses counter blast. That's why Greg is actually quite important here, even though again I'm just lucky that I can finish the game before I need to go to that step. But having counter charge is important because we have a lot of counter blasting units, and Eden is still a very good generic card for Diabolos because it requires you to go to Final Rush to get his full potential, but at least he doesn't bound by any name, which your Leonard will be. So with Leonard, it's still good to be able to +5 and in Final Rush to actually attack 1 column, and whenever you hit you get a soul charge, but you don't get to call any kind of units out from your soul because your boost is not that boost. Yeah, so you still get to soul charge a lot, you still get to do your board wipe. So I think Leonard is still important, but just not as important as before when we're using the old rules where we get to actually call something out without soul charging, which is kind of like what Julian does. But this card does not cost you any counter blast, so it's very important still. But since you can't get to do its full potential, so I'm only using 2. And then our new card again, this one is Diabolos Viamance. So this is double rare from the set, and if you are in final burst, this unit will get +10k, +5k shield, so it's a 10k shield that saves your life sometimes. And when this card appears on regular circle, your Vanguard is the new blues, you can counter blast 1, soul charge 1, and to call a Diabolos that's grade 3 or lower to an empty circle from your soul. So whenever you soul charge these parts in your soul or your right line, you can just bring them up to help you to get prepared for the board, and then because you will be calling out Diablos units, so it will help you to get into final burst a lot easier, which you can see this basically is everything is Diablos. So usually you shouldn't be having any kind of problem. And this card, not only this card soul charge, it also brings you something out onto the field, so it's a very good card, and plus power, plus shield, something that allows you to survive, which again is very important. And then pre-70s. It took me so long to actually find it, so I will just take care of her. This card, whenever you get into Final Rush, the same column of this unit, with this unit that is not her, will get +5. So she can only boost the other unit that is in the same column with her, but this will allow your Vanguard to become 18k if you wanted to, but since I am using a Maple, so the chances is very limited, but this allows you to pump this card to 25 by itself, and then +8 is 33k, which is a very good line. And for example, these ones are 15 +8 23 +5 28, so just a pure 15k is not good enough. So this card is actually very important, and for whatever reason she just get a lot expensive because she is a BD4 card, which is sad that I didn't get a split, so yeah, it cost me some money to actually get this card. And then Maple allow us to get triple drive, so that's why she's always behind my Vanguard to do the stuff, and I don't need to worry about she getting soul charge into my soul at all, because I have so many cards that can actually pull her out before my Bruce to do any kind of attack. So it's so easy to get a triple drive, but again, she also uses counter loss. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units are using your counter loss. That's why I think Greg is still have its own spot here to help us counter charge, so that we can do a lot of things a lot easier. Yeah. And then 2 of this new card, Diabolos girl is Trish. So she's very simple. We got Guardian Circle skill. Whenever you get into a Final Rush, this card will get +5k power, 5k shield. So another card that helps you surviving, another card that boosts your attack to another level, so opponent's calculation will be ruined. Just that simple. And then 2 of the Diabolos boys, Nile. So this is a card that I put in for fun. And unfortunately, he didn't get any chance to shine, unfortunately. But it's not because this card didn't fit in the deck, it's just that the decks that I play against act too fast. Because what this card does is if your boost got hit for the turn, this card will become a 20k shield. So it's a very good defensive option. But the problem is, I don't get to have a lot of guarding power, and my opponent just so lucky that they pull all sorts of criticals, all sorts of OTs, that they always push me to 5, and then I draw into this card. So it's like I need to take a hit in order for this card to gain shield value, but I don't have any room to take damage. That's the bad part. But if the game it doesn't go to this extreme, this is definitely a very good card, because trying to get shield is very hard to find, and to me it's a very good card to just keep in my hand, to whenever my boosts get hit, I will get to protect myself. So I'm not going to take him out just because I'm having a bad luck facing some rush deck. So yeah, same with Greg. Just because I don't get the chance to use it doesn't mean that he's not useful. And then for PGs, if you want to switch it into the promo PG for one of them, feel free to. To me, it doesn't matter at all. Triggers. Dark States OT, I think still better, because your Vanguard gain crit is important. And then more crits. If you do want to use your soul in crit, feel free to. But to me, it doesn't matter. And if you just want to be like play safe, you can use 4 of the Diablo's crit so that you get to pull them out. But so far that doesn't matter to me too much. But if you want to play it kind of properly, then you can switch a total of 4 Diablo's crit in there. and it draws, because I don't have the tanky draws, I'm using this, which is also a Diabolos unit, so you can actually get to use it. If you have another one, you can put it in. And then heals is also Diabolos. So far the trigger lineup isn't hurting me that much because I use them for shield value only. I usually don't get to call triggers out. I usually have other options because the hold right line is another options as well. But if you want to go for a more Diabolos focus trigger lineup, then 4 heals, of course, for the Diabolos crit, that's basically what you need, because tank issue is a lot more important for surviving. I just don't have that. So if you do have it, chuck them in, you're fine. If not, you can try aim for 4 Diabolos draw. But so far, this Diabolos lineup is doing enough for me. So yeah, I don't need to worry about that too much. Yeah. So what you need to do with your setup is usually you have your boost, you have one of these, right? Then you're trying to bring your definitely to one side, maybe this, one here, and then what you aim for will be something like that, which you can actually go for this. Right, so that's what you're trying to aim for. This swing for 20, and then this swing for 28, this swing with triple drive and restand. But do note that this side will only hit for 20, so you won't be hitting for a high number. That's why personal right is important and the triple drives is important, and then you can swing again. That's basically how it works. But if you really don't have your maple, then just do that so that your Vanguard swing can be a lot bigger. And if you really need to do that, then your Trish will just be a good card to stay around, or even your Steve can be a good card. Yeah. But you are facing a retired heavy deck, this will definitely get popped, so you don't get the +5 usually, but still important, still good, and that's why I spend time to get that many copies. Yeah, so that's it for this deck profile. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Like this video if you like this deck profile, share it with your friends, subscribe for more deck profiles, deck fights, unboxing videos. Yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.